happen again.
Hi, hello, and welcome. We're going to be reacting to new updates on Bentellect Has Completely Lost Everything by Ryan Pictures. He will be linked in the description. Like and subscribe to his video first, and consider subscribing to me. But with that said, let's get into it.
Bentellect built a successful career on TikTok from reading and reacting to funny memes, but it all came crashing down when he was exposed for his predatory behavior,
I may know who
turning
this
his
is.
career into one of TikTok's most disturbing scandals of all time. My name's Ryan, and we'll be looking at how Bentellect ruined his own life and career, and where he is now.
I'm starting to notice that. Complete sidetrack here. I'm starting to notice that on people that do reviews on people, that they have their eyes covered in black.
Forward. He would steal tweets and Reddit posts, then read them aloud, and finish with his signature, facts.
Sibling relationships are strong. I'd give them a kidney, but you weren't borrowing my church. Okay, sibling facts.
The entire video often
It seems like very my humor's fried. I don't want to hear it. Nothing. I know I shouldn't say nothing because I have a fried humor, but there's some older people, some Facebook. I shouldn't be cussing this early in the video. I might blurt that, might not.
Consisted of nothing more than Ben laughing into the camera, with virtually no editing or originality behind it. Surprisingly, the simplicity of his videos was what made him blow up, and by mid-2021, he had gained over 11 million followers and 1 billion likes on TikTok, and the numbers across all of his social media got absurd, with followers, likes, uploads, and views all
3,000 videos?
once. Fans loved his content, with some leaving heartwarming comments on his videos saying, "Dude, I'm so obsessed with your videos, I can't go to bed until I see one." However, relying on a single formula eventually caught up to him. Audiences noticed that Ben was recycling content, sometimes even reacting to the same meme multiple times. Seeing this, the tone of the comments changed almost instantly, with people calling him out and even advising him to do something original. Soon, other creators picked up on it as well. Nick is Not Green, Flamingo, and several others began calling out.
I slammed my desk so hard it turned my damn light on for my camera. Hold on, can I turn this off? Hold on. There we go. You see how I want to fucking get like that? You see that shit? You see his forearms?
Just how repetitive his content had become, adding more fire to the criticism.
I need to do more
With
forearm
this
things.
kind of content, I don't even think I'd call it close to comedy. You're reading something that somebody else wrote, and then you just laugh at it.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Bentellect, you suck, dude. Just do something different.
But it was Nick's videos in particular that seemed to get under Ben's skin, and things took a turn for the worse once Ben started taking the criticism personally. He ended up copy striking one of Nick's videos, then followed it up with an email threatening him saying, "The user is not only using my work from YouTube but also from TikTok. A large part of the video is content that I created, including videos from the..."
Hopefully. Thankfully, I've never been copyright striked for my reaction videos. I think I put a good amount of reaction into the reaction videos. Thankfully, I haven't been, copyright striked. But I think he may have a case here because it looks like more than 30 seconds. But, what do I know about being copyright striked and going through all that process?
Video sharing app Cameo, and screen recordings of my social media accounts. About half of the content in this video is my work, and I still feel this video should be removed and want it to be looked into further. Nick then responded by releasing a full video exposing everything.
The fact that he tried to copyright claim, not just copyright claim, but copyright strike my video and get it taken down because I was making fun of him.
But what stood out the most was the tone of Ben's message. Instead of sounding like the harmless, goofy creator people recognized, Ben came across as aggressive and defensive, completely different from the persona he had built online. Things only got worse.
Pause! What is that?
When Nick revealed that many of the tweets on Ben's persona he
What
had
was
built
that?
online, things only got worse.
Oh.
When Nick revealed that many
We
of
all
the
know what
tweets on
that is.
Ben's
Hold on.
personal Twitter account weren't original at all, but stolen from smaller accounts.
That was the most randomest shit that just fucking popped up. Of course. It's fucking, what was that, Twitter?
He doesn't just use other people's content to make his own, but he straight up steals it and reposts it on Twitter.
I may or may not be doing that.
He went as far as placing the tweets side by
On
side,
YouTube.
pointing out creators that Ben had stolen from. Ben had done it so much that it started to look more like a routine strategy, which simply involved finding a popular post, copying it, and relying on his large following to bury the original creator. And not long after, another creator named Noah Samson released a video discussing the situation where he played a clip
I
of
like his setup.
Bentellect unknowingly admitting on camera that he takes posts he finds online and uses them as a part of his content.
I actually did a spoof on another guy who had that.
He explained it casually, not realizing how damaging the admission sounded, but the clip confirmed that the accusations were not exaggerated. Once that reality hit, the internet quickly turned him into a running joke. People began remixing
Damn.
his old
You know you. Oh, hold on. What button is it? All right. You know how hated you have to be turned into this. What is this? Paper Mario style fucking PNG shit.
videos into memes.
Horse and a cat being besties goals. A mouse taking a selfie. What's
We could have been besties, but
Fuck is this? I should get into horror. Horror reactions. Ghost shit.
any boy. I wish you hadn't been so afraid.
Would you pet him? And for how much? You're gonna have to give me like a couple 100 million.
Editing his voice.
I'm running away the moment I pet him. Though.
When you invite an OnlyFans model to your non-existent podcast, but then they say they don't want to hook up with your creepy, desperate 34-year-old self.
He's 34? He's 34. He looks alright for a 34.
and sharing clips that made him an easy target. As the memes kept
I like that guy's
spreading,
videos.
more
Not that guy,
creators
but the other
began
guy before
joining in, adding their own spins and edits to the trend. One of the people who contributed to the wave was a creator named John Casterline. John joked on his own page that Bentellect was
Ooh, I
probably
watched this guy
terrified
too.
of how far the memes had gone.
Listen, I know this trend where everybody tries to scare this dude shitless is a joke, but I guarantee you this dude goes to bed with the slightest thought in the back of his head that someone is actually gonna take things a little seriously.
But Ben didn't take the joke lightly. He posted a response video making fun of John's content through comments such as,
hell? Secondly, dude must have ran out of content because that trend is 2 years old. Honestly, dude just sits in his room telling stories and
He doesn't just sit in his room. He sits in the fucking abyss. Have you even watched this guy? He sits in the abyss for fun and he makes videos like that. I don't see you doing that.
is bad.
but their comeback didn't land the way he hoped because John responded almost immediately and exposed him by saying,
Well, you just
Yo, these... I've noticed a few things here. All these commentary YouTube channels like that do this type of thing, they always have a nice background, except his. It's kind of like, it's missing a few, a few things. A few 20 items in the back, but
Just trap
it is what it
yourself.
is.
Why would you ever try to roast someone else's content when you know damn well all you do is read tweets? Are you kidding me?
In his follow-up video, John also showed that after he made the meme joke, Ben had tried calling him several times on Instagram.
And I go to our messages and find out that he called me about 17 times.
He showed a long list of missed
He
calls,
called him
something that
17
didn't look like a
times?
friendly attempt to clear things up. Instead, it looked like Ben was genuinely upset and urgently trying to confront him. The repeated calls made it clear that the memes were getting to him in a serious way, and once again, people were seeing behavior that didn't match the calm, easygoing character he portrayed on camera. Around the same time, Bentellect also found himself clashing with the hosts of the H3H3 podcast, who had previously roasted his content on their show. Ethan and Gila criticized his repetitive meme format,
about him. He's this guy on.
Holy
on,
shit. Somebody give her a fucking steak or something. She's nothing but skin and bone. The literal definition of skin and bones.
TikTok.
I can see her bone muscles. Her bone muscles? Her bone. What the fuck? I can see her facial bones. I can see the bone indent of her nose. That's how skinny she is. Damn.
Just steals people's videos and goes, "Whoa, that's great."
She looks like what's her name? Hela from Thor. A lot skinnier.
But it was more of a
Bony.
light commentary
A lot bony.
rather than a personal attack.
I feel
My brain is suffering.
an aneurysm opening up.
Yeah.
However, Ben did not see it that way. Instead of brushing it off, he uploaded a response video disguised as a top 5 people who hate me list. Notably, the very first person he addressed was Gila Klein.
On Gila Klein.
Rather than responding with self-deprecating humor or taking the criticism lightly, Ben took direct shots at her, mocking her and making comments about her appearance.
She looks like she hasn't smiled in years, so I'm not surprised.
The tone was bitter and immediately stood out to viewers, becoming clear that the criticism had affected him far more than he wanted to admit. Fans of the H3 podcast quickly noticed and started calling Bentellect out in the H3 subreddit, writing, "He either laughed it off or said he respects them. Why be mean to Gila? Why insult her appearance? It felt so unnecessary and weird. This guy better pump his brakes. That woman is a national treasure. And he's really insecure. He's intimidated by strong, independent women, so his reaction is totally on brand." The post gained traction with
My throat hurt. I don't know if you caught that video. I was gonna speak and my throat did something there. Strong and okay, look. Strong and independent women will never be a threat to anybody. I don't think so. You're telling me you're an adult? You do adult things? Congratulations.
many agreeing that Ben's response had crossed
You know,
the
I pay my
line.
own
But
bills
as
too.
bad as things had already gotten for Bentellect, the situation was about to escalate into something far more damaging than memes or copyright strikes. Around this period, Ben began branching out from his usual meme react content and started reaching out to creators completely outside of his niche. One of the creators he contacted was an OF model named Jordan Max, and what seemed
This is the second time he. This is the second time he reaches out to a model.
like a harmless collaboration,
Or maybe
quickly
this is
turned
the
into one of
first?
the biggest controversies of his career. On July 30th, 2023, Ben and Jordan had planned to film a simple pickle tasting video for his channel. Jordan had already set aside time for it, and everything was ready for filming. But just 3 hours before they were supposed to film, Ben sent her a message completely unrelated to the original plan by asking whether she would also be down to record extra content for her OF page. To which Jordan politely declined, explaining he wasn't prepared for that type of collaboration and didn't even have the necessary testing documents prepared. And that was when things got strange. Right after she said no, Ben responded saying, "No worries, hey, gonna do the pickle video with someone else, thanks though." And when Jordan asked him why he had cancelled, he replied
Any
saying, "To be
particular
honest, I
reason?"
thought it would just be fun to film and see where things go, but I got it." But looking at it critically, it looked like Ben wanted the entire collaboration only to be set up for something else.
He wanted his pickle tasted. You heard that right. He wants his pickle tasted. I can't fucking speak. He wanted his pickle tasted. There we go. Now the whole damn house knows what the fuck I'm talking about in here.
Jordan then decided to share the story on Twitter saying, "I was invited to be on a podcast by a pretty popular TikTok creator, and 3 hours before we were supposed to record."
You know, from here she looks like Hannah Montana. Whatever happened to her?
He
Whatever happened to
asked
Hannah
me if I
Montana?
wanted to make an OF video with him, which I declined, and 1 hour before we were supposed to meet up, he cancelled. At first, the tweet didn't get much attention, making it seem like the situation would eventually fade away. But then, Ben made a big mistake when he sent Jordan another message, telling her to delete the tweet or he would sue her. Instead of clearing his
Damn.
name, the threat immediately backfired. Jordan
like-
posted a screenshot of
It's like he wants to push his weight onto other people because he thinks he has that weight, and he doesn't. Oh, I got the hiccups from drinking the water. Why is this louder than it should be? Okay. Yeah, he's trying to push his weight onto other people, which he doesn't have that weight. But he sure as hell acts like he does. Maybe his ego got inflated too fast.
message, and that was
Something
the
like
moment
that?
the situation exploded. People who had ignored the original tweet were suddenly paying attention, causing the story to spread fast
You know, obviously he's using his fame to get whatever woman he can.
and eventually gain over 1 million views. But she wasn't the only one. Soon after her tweet blew up, Jordan received a message from another woman who exposed Ben for trying to use the same tactic on her. She provided screenshots of her own interactions with him. It showed messages that blurred the line between a regular collab
Ben
and
trolling.
something a
Okay,
little
well,
different.
no
In one of the
worries.
screenshots she shared, Bentellect said, "Do you want to come over here and spend some time with me? Because on a side note, I do think I could probably make us some money on OF. Bentellect fucks crazy bitches into oblivion. If you come over, I'll give you $1,000. I just really want you." However, when the woman refused, he became disrespectful and aggressive,
You think this? Hold on. Let me think about what I'm gonna say, because if I stutter again, I swear I'm going to break everything in this fucking room. You think this has worked for him? You know, trying to get somebody to his house? I want to say yes, because $1,000 is a lot, but he probably hasn't gotten someone that is good looking or has a form of popularity.
what Jordan had experienced. He said, "Yeah, whatever, go f yourself." Says the girl who's trying to make an OF. Good luck. She then responded saying, "First
Pure
you want
ego.
to make content with me, and now you're throwing it in my face, LMAO." To which Ben responded by saying, "Save your words, you're just a flake. If you were actually upfront, I'd be down. But you probably have a lot going on, which is understandable. But either way, I honestly don't care." Things were looking bad for Ben, but no one was prepared for what was about to happen next. The next day, Jordan posted
didn't
another
touch
tweet
minors,
saying,
did he?
"Another woman has come to me wishing to remain anonymous, sharing her experience with Bentellect. This dude is a predator. In the message, the woman described her experience saying, "I hooked up with him for a while in 2019 or 2020,
He has, I knew
back
it.
when he was attempting to be a rapper. He's a pretty shady guy. We matched on Tinder and he said he was 25, but later he told me he was 29.
29.
When I was trying to stop hooking up, he kept telling me he seriously wanted to try dating. After seeing him another time, he told me he wasn't looking for anything serious, then gaslit me that he never said anything like that with me. He called me crazy and said he hopes I find help. I found out he already had a girlfriend, and when I told her, she told me that he was 31. She told me he also lied to her when they started dating. He was literally lying to hook up with younger girls on Tinder." Jordan then posted a screenshot of another woman who narrated her experience with Bentellect. "Actually, he's bothered a lot of women. He told me he loved me and asked me to move in right away. I started pushing back that it was too much and he flipped out on me. It was days after I was cheated on and he was like, 'I
He
don't
also
want to
drank
talk about your
too.
feelings. I want to talk about us. He's an alcoholic and needs to seek help immediately. I'd also have a lawyer if I were you because he's the type to sue even if he doesn't have the grounds to." And on other platforms like Reddit, things did
1.2075 liquor bottles. I don't think we gotta pray for his downfall. He's working on that himself.
sue
Any further than he has already fallen.
even if he doesn't have the grounds to. And on other platforms like Reddit, things didn't look any better for him either. As the allegations spread across Twitter, Reddit users began digging into Bentellect's behavior as well, particularly on the H3 podcast subreddit, where one post quickly gained attention. The post was titled, "Bentellect is just as bad offline," where the anonymous user wrote, "If there's anyone who deserves to be deplatformed, it's definitely this guy. I don't know how he even has 11 million followers on TikTok with his garbage content." The user then claimed the
You know what I think it is? On TikTok, you can pay for your content to be, pushed more out. Which I think is just, botting on TikTok's behalf. And that's how he had all that happen. I'm fixing something, hold on. He has that fame.
situation went beyond Bentellect wanting to create content with OF models. But just to confirm, he is as awful as all the screenshots suggest. He dated a friend of mine on and off and has no redeeming qualities. She's not a very open person, but one day she was feeling down and eventually let me read through some of their texts to explain why. I was in literal shock at the vile he was spitting,
He's
all
probably
because she
very
wouldn't come
manipulative.
over and F him, of course. According to the Reddit user, the messages allegedly included name-calling, insults, and degrading language. The post ended with the user writing, "It was so bad it made me cry just reading through them. I was so happy to see his face pop up on TikTok gossip accounts and thrilled to hear him dragged on the pod. Truly a garbage."
That's what they're called. gossip accounts.
Human, and I hope he loses every bit of the little clout he has. Almost immediately, people were commenting saying things like, Ben the type of guy to say no more Mr. Nice Guy after getting rejected. Even Jordan Max
that made
left
me
a
smile.
comment on the post showing just how serious the situation had
Good Jordan
gotten
Max.
and offering moral support to the victim. By this point, all the platforms are all telling the same story, and Bentellect's reputation was collapsing everywhere at once. The situation had turned from what looked like one tiny mistake into a clear pattern. Screenshots kept spreading, and the more people saw, the worse the optics became for Ben, with fans describing him as entitled, manipulative, and gross. Realizing the situation was spiraling, Ben eventually responded publicly. He released a statement saying, "I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations. I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women. I grew up in a home with 3 sisters.
You know what? Let's let this
and
play
no
out. Let's let this
brothers,
play out
so
before I
learned
say something.
very early on the importance of power, love, and abilities women have. They
All right.
deserve to be cherished and
From what, this is a damage control post, or I'll just throw that out there and let's see what happens type of post. This is a damage control post.
uplifted and treated with respect, and that's how I live my life. I do not condone the statements or accusations that have suddenly been hoisted upon me, and I wish to speak to anyone who feels they have been wronged." But the internet was not convinced. His statement felt generic, and it didn't address
very
any
generic.
of the specific screenshots being circulated. And unfortunately for him, the allegations kept coming. More women posted their own experiences,
More?
each new story adding another layer to the growing drama. The pressure ended up being too much for him, to which he would block Jordan Max, and eventually made an apology video.
"I'm sorry to anyone that I've made feel uncomfortable. I want to say to any girl who I've been rude to, whether through text or in person, that I'm sorry. I understand that me being sorry does not excuse that kind of behavior. I will continue to work on myself and do better."
However, the second apology didn't work as well, with fans saying things like, "Bro, he sounds like he doesn't give a crap," and he ended it off like,
I am sorry for manipulating women. I would try to do better. You know, I would instill. I would go to therapy many times a week. Physical therapy, mental therapy. All forms of therapy. And I will be very sexless, and I will go live in the woods for my misdeeds. The bitch is gonna love that one, yeah.
we would automatically forgive him for sexually harassing women. And this guy doesn't care at all.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Hopefully that was funny. Hopefully not.
What a jerk.
Hopefully.
The controversy eventually reached a much wider audience when Moist Critical stepped in to give his take on the entire situation. On August 20th, 2023, Charlie uploaded a video about Ben titled "A Huge Loser," a title so blunt it barely needed any further explanation. In his breakdown, Charlie pointed out something that had become hard to ignore.
It seems like the only thing on this guy's mind is sex, and how he's never getting it, I guess, but is very desperate too, and will do it by any means necessary to try and achieve coitus.
And when he got turned down, he immediately spiraled into anger or self-pity because things did not go his way. To Charlie, it looked less like a creator handling rejection and more like someone whose entire personality had become fixated on chasing women he couldn't get.
It seems like you're trying desperately to get into OnlyFans but keep getting rejected and can't handle it. So how can you have the gall to try and shame them for it when you are desperately trying to do it yourself?
He then moved on to Ben's apology, highlighting how unusual his wording was about including women and how it failed to address any of the actual concerns being discussed.
"I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations.
I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women."
That's not.
You know, I was gonna call that out, but you know me if you know me. I'm not a good reading comprehensionist, or I was really gonna call that out. Like, including women? What do you mean including women? Don't you mean all people? But that's what I gotta say.
Red flag immediately. I don't know what else is.
Almost like Ben was trying to act sincere rather than actually owning up to anything. More than a year later, Ben resurfaced with a video attempting to respond to Charlie's criticism. The video was captioned, "Penguins is the real creep," and in it, Ben claimed that Charlie's coverage was nothing more than baseless slander, going as far as suggesting that Charlie had ruined his career.
He made a video slandering me.
Right. I think I should say this now. I think I should have said this a little bit earlier when it came to him trying to copyright people for his content. I am only reviewing the evidence and video that is put forth on me and not assuming or trying to dirty your name any further than it already has. Fuck off. And for legal reasons, this is a humor video. This is for entertainment.
Over a year ago, but the damage it caused still affects me,
This guy has been drinking too much. Maybe he has permanent brain damage from how much he's been drinking. It's very pathetic.
career, and my mental health.
He also argued that the screenshots circulating online were fake.
He made up a story reading fake screenshots from Twitter that I started a fake podcast to get girls, OnlyFans girls specifically, to come and hook up.
Implied that he was considering legal action.
A lot of fans have recommended that I sue Charlie. Other commentary channels even make videos detailing the damage.
And even tried to shift the blame onto Charlie.
I would argue that Charlie reading strangers' private text messages makes him and his followers more of a creep than me texting a girl.
Instead of clearing anything up, the video came across as Ben trying to redirect blame toward commentary creators in the hopes of regaining sympathy from his audience. But this wasn't the first time Ben had attempted this strategy. In a separate incident, he tried to portray Billie Eilish as a bully after she did this strategy. In a separate incident,
respectfully, I didn't know Billie Eilish had that all on her. I didn't know she had all that. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, of course, respectfully.
Tried to portray Billie Eilish as a bully after she
didn't
created
know that
a
was Billie
parody
Eilish.
using his videos. He suggested that she was encouraging her fans to hate him, even though the parody simply demonstrated the same reactions that Ben regularly used in his own content.
Posted this video knowing that it was making fun of me to her millions of followers, and in turn would cause her followers to come and hate on me.
It was another example of Ben taking criticism too personally. After months of silence, Bentellect finally tried to clear his name by uploading a video that managed to make everything even worse. The video was titled "Commentary Channels Love to Lie," and from the moment it opened, it was obvious that the only thing Ben was interested in was painting himself as the victim.
This is actual proof that no matter what I do, regardless of it, people will talk about it because apparently it gets views.
Instead of addressing anything
I
properly,
mean, he's one
Ben
to
spent
talk.
the
He's one to talk. He fucking released a video about it. You know, you're one to talk. I've been hearing this a lot. Ain't that calling the kettle black? The pot calling the kettle black? Something like that.
entire video
Something
insisting
about
that
kettles.
every creator criticizing him was a clown and chasing views off his downfall.
Let me just say this. The story is that I started a podcast to leverage my fame to sleep with women. False. And any other person who tells you
Truth. What the fuck are you talking about?
otherwise is lying. For fame, for views, or whatever reason.
According to him, the allegations weren't real scandals, going on to suggest that they were just made up stories.
Oh my god, I've dealt with Bentellect too. Actually, he's bothered a lot of women. Where's the name? This is just a text message, and people take it as like a story. It's not a story.
But the more he talked, the more
I do see what he's trying to say, but you've been caught way too many times doing this. You know, let's say it was just one time, and it's just text messages. I guess you can make that argument, but you've been caught many times.
before it became clear that he wasn't defending himself, rather he was running from reality. He also responded to Nick is Not Green's accusations about the copyright strike, and in his defense, he didn't know the difference between a copyright claim and a strike.
I just point blank thought when someone used your videos, you put in a copyright claim. I didn't know there was a difference at the time between strike or claim or whatever.
This explanation would have been weak on its own, but because of how big a creator he was, it made no sense trying to lie that he didn't know the difference between the two. Also, if Ben's logic of copyright striking was applied to his own page, nearly all of his content would have had to be removed.
Oh, I scratched like a fucking leg pimple or some shit. I don't fucking know. Yeah, you would have been, the fuck up on out of here. And, if anybody's, watching my content and I've made a video about you or reacted to a video about you, please. Oh, I don't have a. I was gonna say mail me, not mail me, Gmail me. No, contact me in some way through mail or Discord if you want me to edit your video or take it down.
After all, most of
I
his
should make
videos
a,
were built on memes
a
and
business
screenshots
email
he didn't
for
own.
that.
But the moment that really destroyed the comeback was when he addressed a situation involving the OF model Jordan Max. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, Ben gave an absurdly ridiculous excuse saying,
The day before she was gonna come over, and I texted her this. So, yep, this is a drunk text at noon. I was blackout drunk. It was just dumb. It was just stupid. And she tried to blow it up into something that it wasn't.
The problem was that Jordan and multiple other women had already presented overwhelming evidence, so Ben blaming the liquor only made him look dismissive, entitled, and unwilling to take responsibility. And while that excuse didn't carry any weight, the whole video was so unrealistic that even his most loyal fans couldn't take it seriously. Just pack it up, it's been over a year. Funny how
The
he was
Kendrick
drunk every
fucking
time he
PFP.
texted them. By the end of that same year, Bentellect's career had completely stalled. His TikTok videos that once pulled in millions of views were barely hitting 6 figures, and eventually he ended up losing over 300,000 followers. His YouTube account followed the same downward trend.
300,000 followers. 300,000 followers. And let's see how much is YouTube.
With
views
over
this
3
year.
million subscribers, some of his most recent uploads were only getting a few thousand views, numbers that made it clear his audience had moved on. The comments, once full of support and laughter, had turned
I guess he still has a form of, oh, I am bleeding. Yeah, I am bleeding. What the fuck? Must have, really scratched myself there. He is at least having a small form of income.
to ridicule, with fans openly questioning why
He might
was
sizzle
still
out
posting,
on his own.
and also mocking him with his signature catchphrases, which he often used at the end of his memes. It was at this time that things got even stranger on Instagram. Bentellect began watermarking memes, placing his name over existing images just to make it look like his own. Behind the scenes, his other platforms were collapsing too. His merchandise store was taken down, and his Cameo page had barely any activity, with reviews dating back to before his
I didn't know he had a what's it called? A merchandise store? What did he sell? Just a sign that says facts?
controversies even came to light. Sponsorships were nowhere to be seen, and his other revenue streams had dried up. Bentellect also ended up opening an OF account, a
Made an
sharp
OF.
departure from the family-friendly meme content that
He
had
made
originally
one, years later?
built his audience. It was obvious that this was just a desperate reaction to lost sponsorships and declining views, with him resorting to anything to earn a little bit of money. And through his downfall, what stood out the most was a video he captioned as Bentellect lost everything.
Ain't no way he lives here. I hope. What the how much does not Twitch, how much does TikTok pay? Was it really that serious? That's a lot. If, this is his own place. Maybe he had this before TikTok.
Which came out as him seemingly making fun of critics who said his career was over. But the comment section quickly turned the joke back on him with replies like, "Yep, you really did, and don't think we forgot about the podcast." If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like these next ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.
Don't forget to subscribe to Ryan Pictures. He has earned your subscription and mine. You see? You see down here? Let's go down here together. You see this? You see this bell icon? This is all. It means I get notified for what all he does. And this like button, go hit the like button. That should make mine shiny too. Subscribe. That should also make my subscribe button shiny too. Go like and subscribe to him, and then consider liking and subscribing to me. Well, that is my thoughts on Bentellect. Hopefully he doesn't come after me. And if he does come after me, I'm going to touch you. Hold on. I don't think I should... Hold on. Let me show. I don't think I should threaten him for that. In that way. That was a joke. For legal reasons, that was a joke. I would not touch you. I wouldn't even touch you. I would pay a homeless man to touch you. Thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe. But with that said,